When 16-year-old Evan Carter came home from school that afternoon, he didn't expect to find a strange silver pod parked right beside his garage. The air around it shimmered like heat waves, and the grass underneath was singed black. For a moment, he thought it was some kind of drone crash. Then the door hissed open, and a tall girl with pale blue skin and glowing silver eyes stepped out, holding what looked like a translation device. Evan froze on the spot, his backpack slipping from his shoulder. "Greetings. Local species," the girl said in a soft, metallic tone. "I come in peace. I am Lyra of the Thaliri colony. I believe this location matches the host coordinates provided by your government." Evan blinked. "You mean my house?" "Yes," Lyra replied, studying her device. "Evan Carter, age 16. Registered in Human Exchange Program. You are assigned as my integration partner for 6 cycles." Evan didn't know whether to scream or laugh. The Human Exchange Program was just a rumor at his school. Something about a cultural experiment between humans and visiting alien species. No one ever expected it to happen in their small town. His mom came rushing out the front door wearing her apron and holding a spoon. When she saw Lyra standing there, her mouth fell open. "Oh my goodness. They said it was happening next year." Lyra tilted her head politely. "Greetings, Mrs. Carter. I am pleased to inhabit your domestic unit." Evan's dad, a quiet mechanic, peeked out from behind his wife and muttered, "Well, guess the government wasn't kidding." Within the hour, a black hovercar arrived. 2 officials in dark suits explained that Lyra would live with the Carters to learn about human behavior, emotions, and daily routines. In return, the Thaliri would share new clean energy tech with Earth. The whole deal was top secret. Evan couldn't believe this was real. He had just gotten a teen alien roommate. That night, Lyra unpacked her belongings in the spare room, a mix of shining crystal discs, glowing fabrics, and something that looked like a floating pillow. Evan stood awkwardly at the door. "You don't need help?" he asked. "I am efficient," Lyra replied. Her movements were sharp and precise like a robot. "However, I am instructed to observe natural human interaction. Should I engage small talk now?" Evan chuckled nervously. "Yeah, sure. Small talk is, just talking about stuff that doesn't matter much." Lyra nodded seriously. "The weather is moderately clear today. Your planet's air density is within acceptable limits. That's a good start," Evan said, trying not to laugh. When dinner time came, Lyra sat at the table stiff as a statue. She watched as Mrs. Carter served mashed potatoes, vegetables, and roast chicken. The alien girl tilted her head. "Your species consumes other organisms. Fascinating." Evan sighed. "It's called food. You'll get used to it." She poked her plate with a fork. "This utensil is ineffective for nutrient analysis." Evan leaned closer and whispered, "Just eat it." Lyra took a bite. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes flickered bright silver. "Acceptable texture. Temperature optimal. Nutrient value moderate. Flavor oddly pleasing." Mrs. Carter smiled warmly. "That means she likes it." Evan laughed. For the first time, the alien girl smiled. Not with her lips, but with a faint shimmer across her cheeks. The next morning, Evan had to take Lyra to Ridge Valley High School, a place already full of gossip and chaos. When he walked in with her beside him, every head turned. "Yo, Carter, where'd you get the cosplay?" One student joked. Lyra simply blinked. "Cosplay, human custom of mimicry. No mimicry detected." The laughter stopped. By third period, everyone knew the alien girl was real. Teachers tried to act normal, but cameras and whispers followed her everywhere. Still, Lyra walked with perfect calm, analyzing everything, the lockers, the noise, even the emotional tension in the hallways. In biology class, she raised her hand and corrected the teacher about human cell division efficiency. "Your mitosis process is remarkably stable. However, your species could triple regeneration potential if you reduce genetic error tolerance." The teacher stood frozen. Evan just put his head down on his desk. At lunch, Lyra scanned the cafeteria menu and frowned. "These are nutrient-poor substances. Why do you consume so much sodium chloride?" Evan shrugged. "Because it tastes good." Lyra thought for a moment. "Then taste overrides logic in your culture." "Pretty much," Evan said, biting into his burger. Over the next few days, things got both funnier and stranger. Lyra tried to fit in, but her idea of blending was unusual. She memorized slang from online videos and used it completely wrong. When Evan sneezed, she said, Respect, bro, instead of bless you. She studied friendship like a science. Once she asked Evan's best friend Jake, "Are you an emotionally stable unit? If so, may we form a mutual bond for data exchange?" Jake almost dropped his drink. But under the awkwardness, there was something honest about Lyra. She wasn't pretending. She was trying to understand. At night, she would stand outside watching the stars. "My world is somewhere out there," she said softly. "But it feels far now. Your people, they are chaotic but kind. You laugh even when you hurt. We do not understand this yet." Evan leaned on the porch rail beside her. "That's just what being human means, I guess." She turned to him. "Then I want to learn it." A few weeks passed and Lyra began showing more emotion. Small, subtle things. She laughed once during a comedy show, though it sounded like a robot's hiccup. She got angry when someone pushed Evan in the hallway, her eyes glowing briefly as if ready to defend him. One afternoon, the principal called Evan into the office. Apparently, someone had uploaded a video of Lyra using her telekinetic ability to lift a dropped book before it hit the floor. The footage went viral in minutes. "Your friend's presence here is creating a situation," the principal said. "We've got media drones flying over the campus now. Government agents are already here." Evan ran home as soon as school ended. Sure enough, there were 2 black cars outside and Lyra standing in the doorway, confused and scared. "They say I must return to orbit," she whispered. "They believe human society is not ready." Evan clenched his fists. "That's not fair." "You didn't do anything wrong." Mrs. Carter was arguing with the agents. Mr. Carter stood silently, his jaw tight. Lyra looked at Evan with a strange softness. "I learned that humans fight for those they care about. It is an admirable trait." Evan shook his head. "We'll fix this. I promise," she smiled faintly. "Your promises carry emotional weight." "I will trust it." That night, Evan couldn't sleep. He opened his window and saw Lyra's room glowing faintly blue. She was standing there, surrounded by floating orbs, her communication beacons. "They are calling me," she said quietly. "My species fears contamination from human emotions." Evan stepped closer. "Then tell them emotions aren't contamination. They're what make us alive." Lyra hesitated, her voice trembling for the first time. "You do not understand. If I refuse return orders, I may lose my status, my family." "Lyra," Evan interrupted, "you don't have to be what they expect. You can be what you choose." Her silver eyes shimmered. "Is that what being human means?" "Choice? Yes," he said. "It's always about choice." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Lyra reached out and gently touched his hand, her skin cool and smooth like glass. "I think I understand a little," she whispered. But before morning, everything changed. At dawn, bright light filled the sky. A massive ship hovered above the Carters' home. The sound shook the windows. Neighbors screamed and pointed at the sky. Lyra stood outside, her hair blowing in the wind, looking up at the ship that had come for her. "They have arrived." Evan ran out, shouting over the noise. "Don't go. You're not just an alien anymore, you're my friend." The ship's beam began to form, pulling her upward. Tears, real tears, rolled down her glowing cheeks. "I will return," she said. "I promise." Then the beam swallowed her and she was gone. Evan stood there, heart pounding, as the morning sky returned to calm. The grass was scorched again, just like the day she arrived. Only this time he felt something missing, like a piece of the world had lifted away. He didn't know if he'd ever see her again. But he did know this. Lyra had learned what it meant to be human. And somewhere out there, beyond the stars, maybe she was teaching her people the same thing. For weeks after Lyra's ship vanished into the morning sky, Evan Carter found himself staring at the stars every night. Sometimes he thought he saw a faint blue light among them, like her eyes watching from afar. But deep down he knew she was gone, taken back to a world that didn't understand what she had learned on Earth. His town had changed too. News drones hovered for days, asking questions about the alien exchange student. Government vans came and went, collecting samples of the burnt grass and even scanning the Carter's house for energy traces. Evan gave the same answer every time. She wasn't dangerous. She was just learning. No one listened. At school, whispers followed him everywhere. Some called him the alien boy. Others asked if he had secret contact with her. He didn't answer because part of him wished he still did. One quiet evening, about a month later, the power went out across the neighborhood. Evan was sitting in his room when his phone began to glow, not from the screen but from inside the device itself. A soft blue light pulsed through it, forming shapes like symbols he'd seen before. He whispered, "Lyra." A moment later, her voice echoed softly from the phone speaker. "Evan Carter. Signal compression successful. Connection stable for 2.4 minutes." Evan's heart leaped. "Lyra, are you okay?" "Where are you?" "I am conflicted," she said, her voice carrying static. "Our council forbids contact. They say humans are unstable, but I have data. Proof that your species holds emotional energy unlike any known life form. It could heal, not harm." "That's what you tried to tell them," Evan said, gripping the phone. "But they didn't believe you." "I intend to make them believe," Lyra replied. "But I require assistance. There is something I must show them, something only you can help me find." "Me? I'm just a kid." "Not just. You're the first human I understood," she said softly. "Meet me where I first arrived, midnight, alone." The connection ended, leaving the room dark again. Evan stared at the phone, his heart racing. He didn't know how she had sent that message or whether it was safe, but he knew one thing. He was going. That night, under a half moon, he sneaked out and rode his bike to the old road behind the woods, the same place where her pod had landed months ago. The field was quiet, covered in dew. For a long time, nothing happened. Then a soft hum filled the air. A small silver sphere descended silently from the clouds, opening like a flower. Lyra stepped out, wearing the same dark uniform, her eyes glowing faintly blue. She looked exactly as he remembered, yet different, older somehow, more confident. "Lyra," he said breathlessly. She smiled faintly. "Your emotional reaction is strong. I have missed it." "I missed you too," Evan said. Her expression softened. "I am not supposed to be here. But something is wrong on my world. I need human help. What happened?" Lyra turned her gaze to the stars. "Our council discovered emotion is contagious." Many Thaliri began to feel sadness, joy, curiosity, things we were never meant to feel. "They blame me. They wish to erase all records of human contact." Evan frowned. "Erase, like memory wipe?" "Yes, and they will come here next to remove evidence of me." Evan felt cold. "They'll come to Earth?" "Yes," she said. "But I believe there is a way to stop them, by showing them the truth. They must see what humanity really is." Over the next few days, Lyra hid in Evan's garage, disguised beneath a hoodie and sunglasses. She spent hours studying human emotions again, laughter, music, family dinners. She watched the Carters talk at the table, amazed by their warmth. One night, as Evan tuned an old guitar, Lyra asked, "This vibration, it creates emotion?" "It's called music," Evan said. "It's not just sound. It's feeling you can hear." She tilted her head. "Then play something." "I wish to understand." Evan strummed gently. The tune was soft, full of longing, the kind that makes you remember something you can't quite name. Lyra closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. When he stopped, she whispered, "I felt it, a warmth in my core." "We have no word for that." "That's how humans survive bad days," he said quietly. "We find small things that remind us we're alive." Lyra nodded. "Then your weakness is also your strength." The next morning, the sky darkened. Strange shapes appeared in the clouds, triangular vessels silent and vast. The Thaliri had arrived. Government alarms screamed across the region. Military jets scrambled, but their weapons were useless against the alien shields. Lyra stood outside, her face pale. "They came faster than I calculated. The council intends to remove me, and any human with knowledge of my kind." Evan's mom grabbed his hand. "Evan, get inside now!" Lyra turned to him urgently. "I must speak to them, broadcast my signal. I will need a human transmitter strong enough to reach orbit." Evan thought quickly. "The old radio tower on Silver Hill, it still works. We used it for school projects," Lyra nodded. "Then we go now." They sped off in Evan's dad's truck, the roads nearly empty as people hid indoors. In the sky, blue lights shimmered like falling stars. The Leary drone searching for her. At the base of Silver Hill, the wind howled. The tall steel tower rose against the clouds, its cables humming in the storm. Evan and Lyra climbed the stairs, hearts pounding. Halfway up, a beam of blue light flashed across the sky, nearly blinding them. "They are scanning," Lyra warned. "We must hurry!" When they reached the top, Evan pulled open the control box and twisted wires with trembling hands. "Can you connect to this?" "Yes," she said, pressing her palms against the metal. Her veins glowed bright silver as energy surged through the tower. "This will transmit my final message to the council," she said, "but they may retaliate." "Do it anyway," Evan said. "You came this far to tell them what being human means." "Don't stop now," she looked at him, really looked. "You taught me courage, Evan Carter. That is also human." Then she activated the signal. A pulse of light shot into the sky, turning night into blue dawn. Her voice, now powerful and calm, echoed through every speaker, every drone, every communication channel across miles. "To the Thaleri Council, I am Lyra of the Integration Program. I have learned that emotion is not weakness. It is evolution. Humans are not dangerous, they are alive. They suffer, they fall, they fail, yet they rise again. They love even when logic says to hate. That strength cannot be deleted." For a moment, silence. Then the sky trembled as beams from the ships began to converge on the tower. "They are charging weapons," Evan shouted. Lyra didn't move. "I will finish. If you destroy me, you destroy proof that understanding is possible. If you erase the humans, you erase what we could become. I will not allow it." The beams fired, but instead of hitting them, the energy curved around the tower, dispersing like fireworks. Lyra gasped. "They are hesitating. Some of them are listening." Indeed, the ships above began to shift formation. Smaller vessels drifted closer, flashing silver lights, a Thaleri sign for peace. Then a deep, commanding voice echoed across the valley, transmitted through Lyra's device. "Lyra of Thaleri, your defiance has reached the high circle. Your words have spread across our fleets. The council is divided, yet intrigued. We will observe humanity further before judgment." The ships slowly ascended, their lights fading into the clouds. Evan exhaled shakily. Did we just stop an invasion?" Lyra smiled faintly, exhaustion in her eyes. "You stopped it. By believing." Days later, peace returned. The media called it the Blue Sky event. Officials claimed it was an atmospheric phenomenon, though everyone knew better. Lyra, however, could not stay. The council had ordered her to return for formal review, but this time not as a prisoner. She would be their ambassador to humanity. When her new transport pod arrived, Evan stood in the same field where it had all begun. The wind carried the scent of rain and the stars shone brighter than usual. "You sure you have to go?" he asked quietly. Lyra nodded. "For now. There is much to teach them, and much to learn still." She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Evan Carter, when I first came here I thought humans were chaotic, illogical, reckless. But now I know, those flaws are what make you extraordinary." Evan smiled. "Guess that's one way to put it." She tilted her head. "I have one final question before departure." "Yeah? What is this feeling?" "When I think of leaving you behind, my core feels heavy." Evan took a breath. "That's called missing someone." She seemed to test the word on her tongue. "Missing. It hurts, but also, it feels good." "Yeah," he said softly. "That's the human part." For a moment she just looked at him, then raised her hand, fingers glowing faintly. A small silver pendant formed in her palm, a fragment of her ship's energy crystal. She placed it in his hand. "So you will not forget," she said. "It will glow when I am near." He nodded, too choked up to speak. Lyra stepped into her pod. The door slid closed, the hum rising once again. As the ship lifted into the sky, Evan raised the crystal high. It glowed faintly, pulsing in time with the light of the stars above. Weeks passed. Life slowly returned to normal. But sometimes at night, Evan could still feel the pendant vibrate, faintly like a heartbeat across the cosmos. Some nights he would climb onto the roof and stare up. He'd imagine Lyra among her people, teaching them to laugh, to sing, to care. And maybe someday she would come back, not as a visitor, but as a friend from the stars who understood what it meant to be human. He smiled to himself, because in his heart he knew she already was.